possibly a Kryptonian,
Yes.
and that
Yeah.
and that so that Wonder Woman's powers. Anyway, you could sort of see where that's going, because the whole thing of like whether or not magic and the gods, there's a version where like, okay, that's cool, I guess, but like, there's also the more sort of scientific kind of, you have like a mythology built up of like where do gods come from, like what is that about, and so anyway, we had played around with that quite a bit.
And Ares was the one that caused the scout ship to crash.
Yeah.
And be in the ice.
What?
Yeah. He killed his crew.
Yeah.
Why
So
you can't just throw that out there.
you can.
That's not. That
I just
requires
did.
some follow-up.
We have a lot of conversations
Yeah,
about
we
this
do.
stuff. So
Aren't you glad DJ came instead of Larry?
Larry might have said that too.
All right, other questions.
In my 3 years of doing movie talk on YouTube, there are two types of people I never like to talk to. Hardcore Snyder fans, the ultra ones that say, "Oh, you just don't understand Batman vs Superman," or the ones that are like, "Oh, if you dare, Gunn is evil, Gunn's the Antichrist, and Zack is our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ." And then there are hardcore comic fans that anytime you dare even disagree with them, every time you do that, they'll be like, "You're not a real comic fan. I don't care if you own hundreds of copies of whatever comic book. You're not a real comic fan." Those are the two types of people I hate talking to on Movie Talk. I'm not even joking when I say that. And by the way, I'm a hardcore comic fan, and I'm a big Zack Snyder fan. Poster Batman vs Superman in the back. Got this associate producer shirt. My record speaks for itself. So Zack did this Snyder Con. I actually completely forgot this was happening until I saw pictures of one of my friends that went to the convention. I wouldn't say friend, I would say online colleague, but and I saw it and I was like, oh, that's cool. And one thing that came out of Snyder Con was, the clip I just showed in the beginning where Zack says that he wanted the Greek gods to kind of connect to Krypton, and how he wanted Zeus to be Kryptonian and Ares and all that, and that technically Wonder Woman would have Kryptonian lineage. And I'm going to say the same thing I say about gods all the time. When I talk about Greek gods, they're fictional characters. They're not DC characters too, by the way. These are characters that have existed for years. DC just so happened to take a crack on their own version of those characters. Zeus was not made by Jeff Johns. It was not made by anyone in DC, okay? I want to get that out of the way. Now, when I first heard this, I was like, that's a little odd. And by the way, and I'm going to say this, I know everyone in the comments is going to be like, "Oh, Isaac, you're a Snyder show. You love the Zack Snyder movies." Yeah, I am. I'm fine with that. I'm cool with that. Cool. That doesn't change my perspective, my opinion. And always, in every one of my videos, this is just my perspective, and you guys are more than welcome to comment in the comment sections and let me know. But my take on this is, who fucking cares, bro? I swear, talking to comic fans, hardcore comic fans, like I said, the two types of worst people on YouTube are the hardcore Snyder fans that get really upset at you, and the hardcore comic fans. And man, the comic fans are so much worse by a mile, because it's like comics in and of themselves are unique. There are different versions of Batman. There are different versions of Superman. How many reboots have we had? Flash is literally the character known for reboots. We've had many versions, and they're not just comic characters anymore. Obviously they are comic characters, but they're beyond that now. They're video game characters, they're movie characters, they're pop culture characters. There's characters that are literally theme parks, revolving around them. So they're beyond that. And so with that, I always want to see different adaptations. Now, to me, always keep the core essentials of each character. Obviously, Superman, I want him to wear red and blue. Occasionally, you can give him black or whatever. Batman, the Wayne's dying. I think these characters need that core essential, but I always want that difference. And you could also change it up. You know, Thomas Wayne and Flashpoint, that was something unique. There's a lot of things. Red Sun Superman, that's something unique. I want these characters to have different stories. And when I heard this, while I found it odd, I was also fine with it. One of the reasons why I'm fine with it is we never really got to see what it was like on the big screen. If you had told me that the fight between Superman and Batman would conclude because Superman said Martha, I would have called you crazy. I would have said that's dumb. Watching the movie, I got the scene. I know not everyone agrees with me, but that Martha scene was supposed to be a scene of Superman showing his humanity to Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne finally seeing that this alien isn't just this all-powerful, mighty god that he saw that he thought he was going to be, but instead he was a human that has parents just like us. You know, and I could go all on that scene. There's a lot more I want to say about that, but that's not what we're here to talk about. And so to me, when I hear something, I don't immediately think what my mind thinks. I don't immediately just put that. I always think, hey, we should wait for the filmmaker to do. And again, the best example of this is the whole voice cast for the Mario movie. You had Chris Pratt, Seth Rogen, all these guys, and everyone was mocking. I saw so many people being like, the Mario movie's going to flop, blah, blah. But guess what? It just hit the $1 billion mark a couple of days ago, and no one's talking about the voice cast being bad anymore. No one at all. Maybe like 2 people, but who cares? And so to me, I'm like, hey, I didn't get to see that, conclude. Like, I didn't get to see how do you connect it? And what I hate so much, and like I brought it up early, these characters have had so many unique, different adaptations of them. I want to see something unique as long as you make it good. Especially with DC that has a pantheon of different variants and versions of these characters. And especially when it's characters that aren't even DC characters. They're characters that DC just so happen to take a crack on. I want to see different versions. I love to see God of War Ragnarok's version of Thor. I also like the MCU Thor. I don't get why we can't have different versions. I don't think every character has to be the same. Especially when it's characters that's not DC's. These are fictional gods. Tell us different stories with these gods. DC, and especially with the universe that's so heavily relied on Superman. That's what I loved most about the Snyderverse, is that Superman was the main core essential, and that Kryptonians are like the powerful beings. I need Superman. I want Superman to be powerful. So I think it's cool that they had the Greek gods somehow connected to it all. And I thought that's cool. That's cool. I like to see mythology. I also like to see differentiating the mythology. I want to see something unique. I want to see something different. I don't just want the same copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. I want to see something different. Okay? Now, I don't want something to be completely different. Like, let's say they had, I don't know, Bruce Wayne fight crime without his mask. I'm fine with that being an Elseworld story, but being a main timeline story, I wouldn't like that. But there's just certain things I'm like, who cares? Especially because we had movies and we didn't get to see that. And it's not like Zack was clear cut saying this was what was going to happen. No, he just said it was more like an idea. It's something that he thought of, and that was it. And the same applies with the Lois Lane Bruce Wayne love stuff. I hate how everyone's like, that wouldn't have made sense. What do you mean it didn't make sense? A widow lost her husband, and there's this other man that can console her. Obviously, when your loved one dies, I think you should be able to move on. Now, I will say, if I found it weird, but at the same time, I'm like, we didn't get to see it actually, take, full effect. So let's wait, see what the filmmakers are going to do, see how they approach it, right? If you had told me years ago that Adam Warlock would not be in a single MCU movie, especially in the Infinity Gauntlet storyline, or the Infinity Saga, if you had told me that, I would have said that's stupid, because he's obviously a main part of Infinity Gauntlet. But then I watched Infinity War and Endgame, and it was perfect. And I'm watching Guardians next weekend. Hopefully they do Adam Warlock right. But man, especially because these are characters that we've seen so many versions. I can get certain characters that haven't really had many adaptations. Like Watchmen. I think Watchmen, that, because we've only had one major version of Watchmen, although you could technically say Doomsday Clock. But because we've only had one version of Watchmen, I can understand if you differentiate. Like, let's say you make Rorschach this really nice guy who, like, gives everyone a hug. Like, maybe that'd be too far. But this is just changing a Greek mythology because I don't care. I don't believe in an Ares. I don't believe in a Zeus. I don't believe in any of that. So take a crack on whatever story you want to tell. And I'm fine that, and I also want filmmakers to take risk. I do want them to stay and show to the fans that, hey, we love you guys, we appreciate you guys, and we're going to do what we think is best. And I'm fine with that. But I also want something unique. I want something different. And I also want filmmakers to take risk. You know, I don't just want the same blam, 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 blam. Especially when it's characters that quite literally are not DC's characters to begin with. If you care about Greek mythology, go read Greek mythology. So let's see this different version. Obviously, we're never going to see it, but hey, who fucking cares? And I hate how I made this argument on Twitter, and I had a couple of buffoons just like fucking messaging me, being like, or not messaging me, commenting, being like, oh my god, you Snyder shows will defend anything. No, I'm just fine with a new, unique take. You know, and this is the same guy who's trusting Gunn. I believe in Gunn. I want Gunn to change the future of DC. I believe that DCU or DCEU has been dead since 2017. But now it's time to bring it back, right? And I'm fine with this. I'm fine with this uniqueness. I'm fine with changing it up. Why? Because that's what filmmakers should do. Filmmakers should take risk. If you don't take risk, you're just going to end up with another Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. That's simple. Anyways, those are my thoughts. In the comments, y'all let me know in the comments what you think. I'll see y'all in the next one. Ciao.